If you're going to mess up on camera, it's going to be fine. You can cut it out. It's not a one take thing. There's times I've shot full videos, watched it back, tried to cut it into a video. It's like, this video sucks. Strapped it and reshot the same thing in a quarter of the time, and it was sharp.
There's many ways to go out there and make money. It all works, right? To your point of, if you like call, if you like videos, do videos, but it's all about picking your one thing and being really consistent on it and going all in on it.
When you're putting out content, you're allowing somebody to know you, to build a relationship with you. And that is the biggest part of it, because they are willing and able to listen to you.
Live from New York. Welcome to the Selling Empire Podcast. Your source for the latest real estate tips, tricks, and insights from the top producers in the industry. Whether you are new to real estate or a seasoned agent, don't miss your chance to learn from guests who have broken the mold and achieved massive success. Get ready to level up your game. Let's get started.
Awesome. So really quick, really thankful for you putting up with us in the last 20 minutes while we try to figure this out.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah. Technology does not seem to be our forte, even though we're in a technology brokerage. Again, have been looking forward to this for a while. So we know your stuff, we know your content, but for those that don't know who the heck you are, who are you? Do you mind giving us a quick intro into yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Jeremy Knight. I'm an agent in the Austin area. We're a husband-wife team. Over the last 8 or so years, we've been rolling in the Austin area. Over the last really 4 years, I've really dedicated my time to spending more time doing video content creation and creating leads through YouTube. And so really in the last 2 years, our business has exploded through YouTube. It's our primary source of lead generation. And not only that, now we're monetized, so we're making money from the channel. So we're making multiple monetary streams just from the YouTube channel, and we're making clients and leads out of it. So yeah, so that's me. It's been a fun last really couple years, but we dove into content creation pretty hard about 4 years ago.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, and I think we've seen your stuff. It's out there. It's pretty good. And by pretty good, that's underselling it. So anybody that hasn't seen Jeremy Knight on YouTube, go check it out. But you said you started doing that. Like, how did you get into real estate? How did that first start out for you?
Yeah, so what's interesting is I graduated college, and the company I'd worked for at the time, just kind of my college job was Costco. And the moment I left school, I got promoted, and they kept promoting me. And so I was, a higher end manager at the time. I was running multiple businesses in that organization. And I've actually made them in this just one quarter by promoting this new program and teaching the sales staff how to sell. I made the company like another $140,000 they wouldn't have made. And so when I went, hey, where's my cut? I made you all this extra money. My salary doesn't change. You've been harping on me for doing this product. They looked at me and thought I was like speaking a foreign language. So, and the reason why I had said that is I knew the answer was no, like that we're not going to give you any other bonuses for this. So I decided to sell real estate. I pretty much left a couple of weeks later, got my license and then left a couple of weeks after that. So, and I just started selling real estate, and I did the same things everybody does when you first started real estate. I didn't really have a big sphere in the Austin area. I was new to the Austin area. So I started cold calling. I was calling, just calling around neighborhoods, calling for open houses, calling expires withdrawals, for sale by owners, going through all of that experience. And, I was up for Rookie of the Year my first year at KW when I was there. And after about 14 months of being at KW, paying them cap twice, I was like, all right, I'm out of here. Went to EXP, their Icon Award 5 times, and then saw Real Broker and thought, man, this is a no-brainer. And I was over 3 days later. So that's just kind of how we got in, and kind of the evolution of what transpired with us in real estate.
Awesome. So you saying you were slacking for those years and didn't do much. This is what I heard.
Yeah. I was slacking for quite a while. That's
Hey, we're gonna start somewhere, right? So I'm glad you finally figured it out, and
my time, that's definitely slacking on my book, right?
Yeah. Now, and what I should add, I've been with Real now 2 years, and both years I've hit elite. So we do a lot of production, and it's because we work hard. We do a lot of, the things that most agents don't want to do. We sacrifice a lot of time that agents would rather just be, doing the agent thing, happy hours and stuff like that. I don't go to a lot of happy hours just because I'm spending a lot of time focusing on the business.
No, and I think
so I was slacking for a while. You're right.
No, and I think you hit it right on the head. A lot of agents, they do the happy hours, they go to all these meetings. They're constantly working, networking, but they don't actually put the work behind that to grow. And when it sounds like you really were all about just putting your head down and just moving forward, marching through, and that's big. That's something that I think anybody could confirm. So. Yes, in terms of, you mentioned YouTube, and that's sort of your bread and butter. What got you thinking about getting into YouTube and then doing that thing?
Yeah, so like many agents, I was one of those agents that had gone to Tom Ferry coaching courses. I had gone to a couple, I'd actually been a coaching client about 7 years ago. And I kept hearing, you got to be on video. You got to be on video. So I just started a YouTube channel and started uploading, for lack of better words, crappy videos. And I was just for about 4 years, I just had this channel and I'd throw a video out once every couple months. And, it was really terribly shot videos just on my cell phone that I'd upload straight from my cell phone. And it wasn't anything that was good. And then so I decided to look, there's a lot of agents that are creating all this content at the time and they're putting it on Facebook. At the time, this was, about 4 years ago. I kept going to everybody like, why are you so focused on Facebook? Yeah, Facebook is great, but you're having to pay to get this video in front of people. You're having to pay for ads and all this stuff. YouTube's free and there's a lot of people on YouTube. So why don't you focus on putting your stuff on YouTube? And everybody thought I was crazy. So I said, forget this. I'm going to show people. And this is about 3 years ago. I went all in. I was like, all right, I'm going to show people that this is a real thing. And so December 2019, the very end of December 2019, I'd had a bunch of listing videos and kind of those like videos that were for other agents, right? So what we do is we put out content and we love all the likes and the great video. The people that are giving us a lot of that feedback typically aren't our actual client base, right? Or our audience. What they are is other agents. And that was what I saw in these Facebook groups. I was like, man, everybody's just in there high-fiving each other over a video, but is it actually getting you business or are you just wasting time and money on it? So when I went all in on YouTube, I said, I don't care about other agents. I don't want them even watching my videos. I'm just going to focus on creating content that a buyer or seller or an investor is going to want to consume that's searching for. And that was the biggest thing is before I wasn't creating searchable content, right? I was just like, here's this listing on this street, whatever, here's the price. It's not necessarily searchable. So I started creating content that was more searchable. So what you must know about moving to Austin, what you must know before you move to Austin, 10 things that people hate about Austin, all of these things that people would want to actually search for. And somebody had told me one time, like, hey, I like all your content. It's great. But the problem I have when I moved here is that, like, nobody's putting out content about what you need to know about Austin and like where to live, what communities, all this stuff. So that was kind of like the light bulb for me where really I switched my content. The hysterical part about it is a lot of those people who said it was crazy for being on YouTube are now and focusing on YouTube are now asking me to coach them on YouTube. So, how the tides turned, as they say. But yeah, so that's what happened. I just really wanted to focus on creating content that a consumer would actually want to find and digest and potentially reach out to me. So my content's pretty nice because I don't ask for business. I give people information because that's what YouTube is. It's an information source, right? It's connected to Google. So it's an information source. I give people information. I don't ask for business. Now there's times where I'll be like, hey, look, that we did this or we did that. We helped a client do this or a client do that. And that's kind of a subtle way of like, hey, by the way, we can help you. Mm-hmm. So, but I don't ask for business at all on the channel. Some people disagree with me on that. They're always asking for business, but my style is to give you information and allow you to make up the decision to call me.
No, I think that's fantastic. And that's sort of when I think of how I like to engage anybody that I hire for any service. Like you said, I'll typically look for something. There's a question that I'm looking for. It's an answer that I'm looking for. I have gone on YouTube. I have gone on Google and other websites, and I haven't gone to real estate agent near me. It's really, like you said, what should I know about this town? What should I know about this thing? And the people that are providing that information free of cost, that are genuinely out there just trying to give answers and give help, those are the ones that I, as a consumer, get attracted to. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but that's a brilliant strategy and something that on my side, I know that I have to work on myself a lot more. I have a lot of those, and I'll be the first to admit it. A lot of those high five, agents on my profiles that I follow, they follow me. Obviously, not to the extent that of your following, but it is something that I hear a lot as a common theme of agents that are successful.
Yeah, and the one great thing about YouTube is it's already part of the Google environment. So, right, everybody just Googles everything, right? So as soon as they ask a question of Google, YouTube search results are usually in the top, right? So as long as you hit those keywords, the YouTube videos are going to be the first things to come up. So most people just like to look at the videos instead of actually reading, right? Because you have somebody speaking to you, you can see their personality. So it's definitely a great tool and something that you've done a great job at putting together and capitalizing on. And something we're trying to do, obviously, but we're not there yet.
Yeah. And I think one of the struggles that I see a lot of people have is they're camera shy. People always say, I hate myself on camera. Like, I don't want to be on camera. I'd rather get on the phone and start cold calling people. Like, did you struggle through that yourself, or how were those videos, for you in the beginning?
You said something that's really important there. I would, if somebody's more comfortable cold calling, then I would recommend just continuing to do that. Now, I think video is very important. It's a very good medium for people to have, right? Because people then get a sense of who you are. They know what they're getting into. I think the biggest thing that I've noticed from putting out content and continually putting out content is that when people meet me in person and we're going to show homes, they reach out to me to sell their home, there's no questioning what I'm talking about. They already know me and understand that I am the authority and I am here to help them, right? Because I put out in my content, look, I say it all the time, I'm not here to buy. My number one job here is not to help you buy or sell a home. My number one job is to protect you and your assets. The subset of that is actually finding you a home. And so when people understand that, they're willing to listen. And have you ever gotten like a referral and you get this referral and this client is just a pain? They second question you, they do everything because they know somebody else, but now they're giving to you and now they got to question everything. And so a lot of times what happens, especially when I get referrals, like, oh, check out my YouTube channel. They may look at my YouTube channel and go, no, you are not the agent for me. I don't like you. I just save everybody a ton of time, right? So I think that's really important. If you are better suited for just making phone calls and doing that, then by all means do that and focus on that. There's a book out called The One Thing. This is my one thing is video content. Now, if somebody's trying to get into video and they're like, look, I'm not good on camera. I hate being on camera, but I know I need to do it. Here's what I recommend. Number one, get in the shower before you go to shoot. You shoot in the shower and just think about what you want to say. I know it sounds stupid, but look, a lot of people get in the shower and I'm telling you, man, like 90% of my videos, I shoot fresh out of the shower because I've been in the shower for about 15 minutes, just going through what I'm going to say. And my mind is sharp and I'm ready to go. I don't care what I look like on camera. Well, obviously I'll look clean, right? So I think that's one like small little tip. The second thing is like when you're looking at the camera, Glenda Baker is a very good example of this, right? She has a very huge Instagram and TikTok. And on her channel, she doesn't even look at the camera. She has somebody sitting there. So you could have somebody sit on the other side of that camera and just you're having a conversation with them. Or you could put it this way. Look, the people like what's the saying? Imagine everybody in their underwear. Well, the great part about talking to a camera is nobody's there. If you're going to mess up on camera, it's totally fine. You can cut it out. It's not a one take thing. I think that's what people are worried about. It's a one take thing. I'm going to mess up. I'm not going to look good. There's times I've shot full videos, watched it back, tried to cut it into a video and said, this video sucks. Strapped it and reshot the same thing in a quarter of the time and it was sharp. So I think that's the thing that people miss is that there's an edit button on this feature. When we're doing a live stream like this, you can still go back and edit some of this stuff out, but this is more live, free flowing. And I think if you realize that, hey, I'm going to mess up on camera, it's going to be fine. We can cut that out and then make a fun blooper reel at the end. Like people are going to like that. And I think that's how you get around being in your own head. I want to make one other point here. And I think this is really, really important. So for me, when you're doing a business plan, right, and you're planning out your year and you're planning out how much money you're going to make and all of these things, and then you go look at your lead sources, right? So part of business planning is looking at where your lead sources are and how much money you made from that lead source, right? So if your lead source is agent referrals, how much money did you make off of agent referrals? Next year, how do you do that and make more money off agent referrals? If it's a video, how much money are you going to make off videos? Now, I've done the math on this all the way down to the video. I know exactly how much I make per video that I put out. Now, I'm not saying that every video I can say, okay, this video got me $100,000, this one, $1 million, whatever. But I can tell you that it's accumulation. It's not just one video. And that's the thing. People think I'm going to put out a video on YouTube or wherever. And okay, where's the business? It's out there. Where's the business? Who's calling me? It doesn't work that way. It's accumulation. It's consistency. So I've done the numbers per video. So I put out a standard 8 to 10 minute video on Tuesdays. Per video, I make $20,000 per video. I've done the math on it. So if I don't put a video out that week, regardless of how my hair looks, how I look on camera, all of that, I know that I'm going to lose $20,000. And at the end of that week, when I don't have that video out there, I'm sick to my stomach because I realize I just lost 20 grand. So I think you have to look at it that way too. You actually have to put it in a monetary. What is the pain point of not doing this thing or not doing this action? It's the same thing as like, I didn't lead generate this week. Okay, well, 3 months from now, I'm going to be out of business and I'm not going to have business closing, because I didn't lead gen this 1 week or maybe these 2 weeks, because everything's 90 days out if you think about it, right? So if you're making your calls 90 days out, you should have a closing from that. If you're going to make those calls, you're not going to have a closing that following week. So it's the same thing with video. If you don't put out that video and you're not consistent, what's the actual pain point? How much is it going to cost you for not doing that video?
No, and I think you made an excellent point, right? When you reference to the one thing, that's something that we talk about all the time here in our team is there's many ways to go out there and make money. It all works, right? To your point of if you like call, if you like videos, do videos. But it's all about picking your one thing and being really consistent on it, really focus on that one thing, just plug it in again. And going all in on it. It's the same sort of methodology as what is your hourly rate, right? If you focus on doing this thing, what does that mean in terms of your productivity 30, 60, 90 days out? Knowing those numbers, sticking to it, and being able, like you said right now, to recite them so that you know what is that pain that you're costing yourself by not committing. Whether it's phone calls, whether it's videos, door knocking, whatever it is. Be really good at it. Be the person that is the best at that one thing. And even if you're not good in the beginning, just the pure repetition of that action over and over again consistently will make you great at it. You got?
Yeah. So talking about that kind of consistency, you say you started late 2019, right? So you've been doing it for 3 years now, in terms of the video, right? So when did you first get that client? How many videos did it take in order for you to say, great, I got this client for that particular video? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think back to my point earlier, it's not just one video, it's an accumulation of videos. And because people need to take you seriously. If they watch one video, they may reach out off one video, but it's not 100% somebody's going to watch one video and reach out to you. So I really focused on what my content was December 2019. By March, we had the pandemic hit. By the end of March, I had more people calling me actually, by June. So I started having people call me within 4 months. By June, I was closing deals and a lot of deals from YouTube. I think, if you look at the pandemic, you were in a state where you couldn't even sell real estate, but in March, April, by the end of April, I was already writing contracts from YouTube. So if you look at it, that's about 4 months, 4.5 months. And a lot of agents, they put out 3 months of content and then they go, okay, I'm not getting any leads out of this. Prime example is my buddy in San Antonio, Trey Serrano, right? So Trey is putting out content for months and he was barely scratching 1,000 subscribers. We're talking months. So I put out one video per week. So if you think about that, it's 4 videos per month. So what is that? 4 times 4, 16, let's say it was 30 videos by the time I really started getting calls. Same thing with Trey. Trey's about 40 videos in and he was really still struggling to get the subscriber count. Well, he hit to 1,000 subscribers. And I said, okay, now you got to hire this person, this person, this person, and this person. He's like, but I don't have any leads yet. I'm like, trust me. Trey went from in 1 month only having, so it took him, I think, almost a year to get to 1,000 subscribers. In 2 months, he's gone from 1,000 to almost 5,000 subscribers. Because really, it's that 1,000 subscriber mark, people start taking you seriously and they start really watching your content. And that's where his channel just blew up. And now he's getting a lot of calls. People want to go to San Antonio. So it's not just one video. And I think that's where a lot of agents mess up in this whole scheme of things, right? Like if you were to do 1 day of cold calling and you didn't get any leads out of it, well, are you going to quit day 2? If you put out one flyer or mailer and you didn't get any leads out of it, are you going to quit on the next flyer? No, it's going to take you 6 months of flyers, and maybe 2 to 3 flyers in a specific geo form to actually get a lead out of that. I mean, you're talking probably $3,000 to $4,000 you spent at this point just to get one client to call you. So I think that's the same thing. Is like, you're not going to just nail it your first week of cold calls. You're not going to just nail it the first week of video, but it's a repetition part.
Yeah. No, and I think, like you mentioned, 1,000 subscribers, I've heard that a lot. Like once you get to 1,000 subscribers, that sort of that hump that you have to sort of get over. But I also don't want to neglect the sub 1,000 subscribers in terms of new people doing videos out there. I'll use myself as an example. I started doing videos, and mine again are not as good as yours. I'm mainly focusing on like Instagram Reels, TikToks, and I am doing some YouTube Shorts. But right now I'm sitting about 400 followers, which is not a lot. But out of that 400 followers, I've been aiming for a video a day. Just, it could be 30 seconds, it could be a minute. It's pretty short, a video a day consistently since March. With only those subscribers that I mentioned, those 400, which used to be only 150 back in March. With only those subscribers, I have gotten people reaching out to me just because they see me out there a lot more than they did before. Actually,
right.
Going after this, do an inspection for a house we got under contract last Friday. That came from Instagram. That came from somebody that's on my Instagram that we had interacted for a while. They started to see my videos. We started to talk about it. And hey, their uncle needed to buy something. He gave me a call last Thursday. We showed the house Thursday evening. We got under contract on Friday. So all from that video, but it was because of the accumulation, right? Of course. It wasn't one. Yeah, it wasn't one video that I put out there and that went viral. It was the many videos over a long period of time that just starts to accumulate, and people start to see, and they start to associate you with this action.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing too. Like if you think about it, when you see a video on Instagram of somebody's Instagram, right? And you go, oh, that was a really funny video. And then you go over and click to their profile and there's no other videos on there. You're like, oh, it's almost a letdown, right?
Yeah.
Because that same sense that you just felt in that one video, you want to feel it over and over again. And so it's the same thing on your IG, YouTube, wherever. They want people, when they find your content, they want to binge watch it, right? I mean, we all do this. I'm binge watching Yellowstone all over again because we're in we're in the next season and we're only 3 episodes in and I want more, right? So I'm going back and watching the old stuff. Well, that's the same thing people do. Like they want to binge watch. Now I'll tell you this on YouTube, I will have people be like, I just watched 4 hours of your content and I'm calling you right now. So imagine that. You put out all this content and someone is going to willingly sit and watch your content for 4 hours. And then they pick up the phone and call you and they are in. They want to buy a home. They want to close. They want that picture on Instagram with you. They want to feel all those feelings and they're ready because people need to understand when we're having a conversation with a camera, it's a one-sided conversation, right? I'm talking to a lens, a microphone, and maybe somebody behind it. But you have to think about when that video goes out there, there are all these eyes that have a new relationship with you, a relationship you don't even know about, right? I watch Mr. Beast videos. I love Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast doesn't know anything about me, but I know a lot about Mr. Beast, right? Yeah. And so that's the same thing as when you're putting out content, you're allowing somebody to know you, to build a relationship with you. And that is the biggest part of it because they are willing and able to listen to you. and you create a much better client base than you would if you were just cold calling. Now, I'm not saying that you should just cold call or just do video. If you're doing video, I really think you should still cold call, because this, or have team members, like I have 2 team members on my team cold calling every single day right now. So we're doing the videos and I have my team members calling inspired withdrawals, because look, we're in a time right now where the market's shifting. It's a lot harder. If you're not doing the multiple of things, it's going to be a lot harder to create business. Video isn't going to just be the great one way to create buyers and sellers, right? It's not the one great medium. You're going to have multiple mediums. You're going to have that video piece. You're going to have a really good mailing campaign, right? That links back to your YouTube channel. Watch the video we just did, on your postcard. You're going to have that good email campaign, all your past clients, all the leads in your database. And then you got to be able to have, to make cold calls and talk to your past clients. It's not easy. And I think that's the one thing agents want to do, the easy button, right? It's a lot easier to do the YouTube shorts, the IG reels. That's a lot easier than a full video. It takes more time, but you have a medium of content out there. Now you got to do the other things. And so that's where you got to start learning how to leverage and getting other people to do those things for you.
Yeah. And I think you hit on something that's crucial, right? I think of like big companies like Microsoft, Apple, all these giants, right? They don't do one thing, but they integrate their many things into one. So yes, you can't just do video, you have to do something else, but it should either leverage those videos, it should integrate those videos in some way. It should all be linked into your brand, if you will, right? When you think Apple, you don't think just iPhone, you think iPhones, Macs, iWatches, all these things. It's
think about Apple though. What does Apple really sell? Think about that. Apple sells easy. Apple sells easy because that's why people like their iPhone. That's why people like their Macs, because it's easy to use. It's easier to operate, right? I mean, how many people that have Android and they're over there trying, you just did the same thing that takes them 5 minutes to get to. It's the easy button, right? So Apple sells easy, sells technology easy. And that's where, yes, they sell a lot of things, but they sell technology easy. So pick the thing that you're good at and sell that. If it's luxury, just hit home luxury videos, right? Think about 4 different ways to come up and talk about luxury and just hit on those luxury videos. If you're working a different price point, you're working one side of town, just pepper that into your content, right? I am the guy here or girl here, whatever.
Yes. Yeah. And to the point, it's all about whatever you're doing. It's about, honestly, the client experience. Why should it work with you? It's because of X. It's because I am the guy that does this. It's because I will make things easy for you. That's ultimately what they want. They want to buy or sell a house, and they want to have an easy time or fun time doing it, whatever their goal is. So it's about aligning yourself with what your value is that you can bring to the table. And do you want to add?
No, and to your point earlier about the Microsoft and the Apples, they needed to start somewhere, right? So they started out with, Apple started out with their computers that made things easier, to Jeremy's point. And then from there, once they got really good at it and they built a brand, then they started adding other mediums of profit and business, right? And same thing with Microsoft. They started out with software, but now they have the cloud computing. So they have all these lines of businesses. But you have to start with that one thing, get really good at it, start attracting people to it. And as you are building that business, then think about the next steps and the next iteration, how you're going to build on your current success. But you got to get really good at and really obsessed with one thing to make you, the first thing people think about. And then from there, you can kind of build onto it. Just like you said, Jeremy, right? You do all the videos, but now you have some team members focusing on other things, right? Because nowadays you need to have multiple streams of lead generation because without it, we won't be able to survive in the next few months, right?
Right. And what's interesting, I don't think you meant to do this, but you just talked about Real Broker without talking about Real Broker. Because what you just said is, seriously, think about it. Because agents, when they're in this business, right, there's a lot of different ways to find business. And Real Broker is really focused on making the agent experience better and doing it through technology, doing it through support, and doing it through a lot of different ways for revenue streams, right? And then on top of that, it makes the client experience better. And then it attracts more people to come to it, right? So you have a lot of these agents going, wait, the agent experience is better. The technology is better. This is better, this better. And I don't have to pay as much. Well, why wouldn't I go there? And so you eloquently, without knowing it, literally defined what Real is doing.
Yeah. And, to keep building on that, all the new things that they announced at the conference, right? So all the other streams of revenue, you got Real Title now, you got Real Mortgage, and all the vision that they put out for the future. It was really amazing on how they're building that client experience and building on all these revenue streams for the company and for the agents, right? Not just not just for the company.
Yeah. And I mean, just speaking of the future and sort of where things are headed, I do want to, ask Jeremy, so what's next for you? Again, you're doing great today with, I guess, your videos and everything else that you're doing. Where do you see yourself going or doing here coming into 2023 to keep growing your business?
Yeah, so a couple of things I'm going to be doing this year that I think are different is I'm going to be hiring a couple more video people. I personally think I'm going to pull out of production and have my wife I'm very fortunate that my wife is on my team and she is exceptional of what she does. We get referred to a lot of buyer clients and they all end up working with Eileen because she's very thorough and they love that. So I'm going to be pulling out of production a little bit more so I can focus on more content creation. So I'm going to be spending more time doing video walkthroughs with properties, doing things outside of my office, and doing things like that. Secondly, I have a second YouTube channel that's Agent Content Creators. I'm going to spend a lot more time on the Agent Content Creators. So on there, I just talk about, I don't sell a product. A lot of these people that try to do a coaching program, whatever, they're selling a product. This is a product-free channel. And on that channel, all I do is bring on high quality agents to talk about what they're doing, kind of like what you're doing here, but talk about real in depth, getting very tactical on things that they're doing. So expanding that. One thing that I'm doing this year, it's pretty interesting, is that since my YouTube channel is monetized, I'm actually breaking down and charging a vendor fee. So what we're doing is on my website, which is housed through Chime, which thankfully I only pay $25 a month for from Real, we created a vendor page. And so I'm going to all my vendors and saying, look, I've done all of this business with you over the last years. You've been on the YouTube channel. What we're doing is we're setting up an actual paid vendor list. So you're on the vendor list for X amount. You're just on the list. For this amount, we'll talk about you on a specific video. On this, for this amount, you can actually come on for a couple minutes and actually talk about your product and what you're doing. And we'll bring it in not a sales pitchy way. But I have another media company LLC I've created. So they pay the media company LLC. I obviously have to give out disclosures that they're paid. They pay into one of the companies that I own. And so now I can make an additional revenue from the YouTube channel that we've built up. So, instead of going like, and this video is sponsored by X. So it'd be very simple. Like, I noticed the floors in this house really need resurfacing. There's a company on our vendor list at such and such. Reach out to them. If you ever need new flooring or whatever, reach out to them on our vendor list. It's right here. So now they can come through to my YouTube channel. I can capture the lead there. And that lead is going now to, whoever it was on that vendor list, or they can peruse my vendor list and just look at different vendors for different things.
And it's funny that you mentioned
this is so timely.
Because we actually spent all morning today working on our vendor list for not to this extent that you have, but for this same purpose in terms of going forward. We have a bunch of, as every agent does, have a bunch of partners that we use and refer out. And I found myself constantly taking out business cards or just texting somebody their information versus having a simple vendor central place that I can point people to. And to your point, say, hey, reach out to this person and here's a cool video or something. We literally just did this morning.
Not quite monetized because, we don't have the kind of pull you do. But yeah, we definitely, it's a way for us to make the client experience easier so that our clients can go in and search for it. And two, in a way monetize it because we usually look for our partners to hold our events and, kind of help us cater things and things like that. So it's, not monetized directly. They're not really paying us, but in a way it's to build that relationship and kind of have that.
But hey, that's an excellent idea for 2023. So we'll definitely be.
And the And the reason why I'm doing that isn't just to make money off of my vendors, and people are probably going to see it that way. But my expenses every month are kind of getting higher because now I'm trying to create more content. As I create more content, I need to hire more people, and I need to leverage more pieces. So right now, and here's the other problem is YouTube used to pay me a lot of money every month for being monetized. Now they pay me nothing. I mean, it's so small. On an average month, I make between $400 or $500 a month for about 50,000 views and 5,000 watch hours. That's like not a lot to get paid. Yeah. So what I'm doing is that way I can fund my company on the side that I'm going to use to then create more content. And then I should be able to charge other agents to come in and shoot in our spaces. And then now, since they can come in and shoot, now they can create more content. So
it's a value proposition all around.
Really, it's just trying to, right. Yeah, it doesn't, I mean, I'm not going to benefit from it directly. Like, it's not just going all in my pocket. Yeah. It's going in the pockets of people I'm paying to create the content.
Yeah, video production is not cheap.
No, I think in general, video production, running a business, servicing, ultimately it's all about servicing your client at the end of the day. To service your client at a high level with, what they've come to expect from, I guess, what's out there today, it costs a lot of money, right? It costs a lot of money to acquire that lead, to create those videos, to even, honestly, to sit down and cold call. That's hour spent, that's money spent. And then to work with partners through this model is a huge help. For example, we're hosting our annual client appreciation event actually this coming Sunday. And a lot of money went into that between the venues, all the food and drinks. We're doing away giveaways like Airbnbs, vacations, things like that. That costs a lot of money. Yeah. And we gladly do it for our clients. Again, it's to appreciate them for the business that they've brought us. But having partners to help with the bill
definitely softens the blow.
Softens the blow a bit. Yeah. And it also promotes them, right? It promotes them because a lot of these partners were the ones that helped us with this closing. So it's a way for us to come together in benefit of our clients.
Yeah, I think, when most people look at real estate agents, they look at us. Here's lawyers at the very bottom, and real estate agents are right there with lawyers. I mean, we're not really thought of because we make money off of a transaction. Yeah. But I think what a lot of people fail to realize is that the cost per lead capture, the cost per conversion is actually quite high. And I think that's what people fail to realize, that it is an actual business. Like if you think about on Shark Tank, they go, what's your cost per lead? What's your cost per you're sold? And so they're like, oh, it's, $5 to sell every one thing, right? Yep. So we spend all this money and time and energy just to get that one client. And I think that's where people fail. And that one client will turn around and go, oh, give me part of your commission. You're like, no, I won't. No. And I'm working very hard to get you. Right. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Awesome. And Jeremy, we're running out of time, so I want to keep you hostage for too much longer. So just had a last couple of questions here for you. Sure. And then we can wrap things up. I'll take the first question. If you could start all over again, what would you do differently in your career, if anything?
I would have gotten to video a lot faster. So, I was already doing like Facebook live stuff, but I would have gotten to YouTube a lot faster. Because I think had I gotten into YouTube 16, 17, I think the sky would have been the limit as far as what we would have done. The second thing I would have done is really push in and get Yelp reviews and Google My Business reviews. Yeah. I would have really gotten into those a lot sooner. I just finally got my Google My Business unlocked. They had me, suspended because I don't know. It took me 6 months to figure out why, and I still don't know why. I would have gotten to those things a lot faster. It's tough because you're as a new agent, you're really trying to just pull in every piece of business you can. I would have focused on my lead generation sources most cost effectively, because a lot of agents start out and then they get calls from Trulia, Zillow. Oh, for $1,000 a month, we're going to get you 25 great leads. And you're like, great, awesome. And then you spend $12,000 that year and only closed one deal that was $12,000. Like,
that was also a realtor.
Yeah, we definitely we definitely fell for that for realtor.com. Without having a real system in place, just taking those calls as they came, only closed one deal in that year just because we didn't have a good follow-up system. We just didn't have a system to service the client. So even if we wanted to, we didn't know what we were doing pretty much when we first started getting those.
Yeah.
No, and to your whole,
that's the problem with most agents, right? When we started this business, why do you think the attrition rate's like 90% are out of the business after the first 2 years, right? It's because they spent so much money on all of these lead generating sources. They weren't tactful in what was the cheapest option that had the highest net return. And that's what I love about video is it is pretty, if you can do all of this yourself, you can film this all in one take and make it not that great and put it out there on YouTube and just have content out there. Agents go after they see the dollar signs of what's going to make them money. And then they spend all this money on stuff that doesn't make them money. And that's where agents fail out of this business.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. So kind of, for agents that fail our business, for, some of those agents out there, especially now with the way that things are slowing down, they might feel stuck. What advice would you give them to kind of get unstuck?
I would say this is a perfect time to get all your systems in place. Over the last 2 months, that's what we've done. It started to slow down for us. So we put our systems in place for our team. So as these leads continue, it's going to, everything's going to run smoother than it did. Secondly, I would really heavily look at where your lead sources were for last year. What were your lead sources? How much money you spent on those lead sources? If you were spending money on lead sources that were the cost to get that lead was exorbitantly high, I would get rid of that and focus on the ones that were the highest net benefit to you, right? YouTube has definitely been my highest benefit. So I'm doubling down on YouTube.
Yeah. It's like you have a camera here because you're saying all the things that we've been doing for like the last, 2 months as well.
Yeah, we've been, because it's low as well for us, we've been building out our systems a lot better. Our new agent onboarding, because we're, building the team, making sure that our team members know to focus on one thing and not go after every shiny object and take every course and, go after every, thing that they see on Instagram or Facebook or whatever the case may be. So that's what we've been kind of focusing on the last month is making sure we have our ducks in a row and, diversifying our lead sources a little bit so that we can, go into 23 in a better position to service our leads.
Yeah. But to Jeremy's point, not only diversifying, but also looking at our current lead sources and really determining, is this a good source or not? And fine tuning so that we can service those leads that come in through that at a high level. So systems has been a huge thing for us in the last 2 months. Again, prepping to 2023 to hit the ground running once the holidays are over.
I think a lot of agents won't be prepared for 2023. 2023 is definitely going to be a year where that's going to make or break a lot of agents, because the agents that understand how to work in a time where buyers need a little more convincing that it's okay to buy right now, right? If you looked 2020, 2021, the first 3 months of 2022, everybody was like, oh, I need to buy a house. The FOMO was there. Well, now that the FOMO is gone, how do we show people that you can it's still a good time to still buy? Now they're going to tell you, oh, you're just another realtor. But I actually broke down the math the other day so I could show people on my YouTube channel, like, look, you keep saying Austin's unaffordable, but look, if you would have bought a home here, here's what you'd have been paying. Now you can buy it here. Here's what you're paying. It's $100 difference. How much more expensive? You guys keep voting for stuff that raises taxes. So maybe don't vote for those things and you save a little money.
Yeah. It's all about education, right? Anytime is a good time to buy. It's just buying right is the key, right? You have to be educated and know your options. And we spend a lot of time these days just educating our clients about those options. There's a ton of either different programs or different locations that you can choose from that still make sense. And just people just don't know about it. So it's really our job to educate and guide them to that.
Yeah. And I think because we're running out of time, we'll just go to the last question. What resources would you say brought you the most value in your career? So in terms of books, podcasts, mentors.
As far as books, I mean, Gary Keller, has the whatever agent book. The One Thing was a great book. So both of those books were good. I think the best resource And this is what got me through college. I tell people this all the time. Like, you don't have to be the smartest person in the room. You don't have to. But if you sit next to the smartest person in the room, and you will have a higher grade than most of the people in the class, because you're not only you're learning, but you're able to ask questions. And the smartest person in the room, guess what, loves to answer questions because they love to feel smart. So find the smartest person in the room and align yourself with the smartest person in the room. If there's somebody that's killing it in your market better than you, get with them and be like, look, I don't want to be a competitor. I want to be your champion. I'll champion you, you champion me. I want to help you, you help me. You don't have to team up, but you can learn from that person. Maybe they're not in your market, right? There's people that I learned from for YouTube that did way better than I did on YouTube and don't get any business from YouTube. I figured out how to get business from YouTube. Now, they get some business from YouTube, but their channels are different. They're not focused on getting leads out of YouTube where I am. So you can learn stuff from everybody. Just associate yourself with the smartest people in the room.
Awesome.
Great
Which is why you should come to Real Broker. We have smart people.
And this is why we're having these conversations with smart people so that we can learn from it.
This whole podcast is all self-serving. We're looking to learn ourselves. So thank you for all the advice.
So I do a podcast on my YouTube channel called Real Amigos, and I bring in people that know things that I just don't know about a lot of different things. Now, I can make the podcast where it's me talking about these things, but people enjoy that I can have a back and forth conversation with somebody, just like you're doing now. And so I think it's good to have somebody who's just maybe a little smarter than you at something. I have people that are doing way more business in my own market that I'll bring into my YouTube channel. People are like, why would you do that? Not everybody wants to work with me. That's fine.
Yeah. That's awesome.
No, I think that this is a good spot to, end the show for today. But Jeremy, where can people find more about you? Is it at Jeremy Knight? All channels?
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram at The Real Jeremy Knight. On YouTube, just type in my name, Jeremy Knight, and you'll find me very quickly.
Awesome. Well, Jeremy, really appreciate the time, and also you putting up with our technology issues in the beginning of the show here.
Oh, don't worry about it. Right?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, our editor is going to have some fun editing this one. That's for sure.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeremy. Really appreciate the time.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks for listening to the Selling Empire Podcast. Want more of the best real estate tips, tricks, secrets, and insights to level up your game? Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss the next episode. While you're at it, help us spread the word by leaving a rating and review. And we will see you back here next time for the next episode of The Selling Empire.
Oh.